if we could please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. April, could you let the record show that we are all present?
Yes.
We're going to move on to the approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted. I'll support.
All right, we have a motion to support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to the approval of the agenda. I have nothing to add or delete. Is everyone good with the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. I'll support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Let's move on to announcements and communications. I'd like to start, first of all, by thanking the public for re-electing me for my third term here. It's an honor to be here, and I hope everyone knows that I do the best I can to try to make the township run as smooth as possible. I'm very honored by it, believe me, very honored. And I would also like to congratulate the board for returning. This is a fantastic board. The treasurer and the clerk and our trustees have done so many good things, and it's so nice to keep them gelled together. I want to say that this board has something beyond just being a board for the public. We are very good friends, and we can sit on this board and we can disagree and we can fight and we have different opinions, which I believe that's what it's supposed to be. And we can leave here and we can all shake hands and say, hey, next meeting, let's make this work. And it's really, really a gelled board. I'm very proud of it. And I wanted to thank you all and congratulate you all for winning.
Thank you, John. You too.
Okay. So that being said, I'd like to move on. We do have an update from the library. And Holly, come on up. We're all anxious to hear what's going on.
I do have an update on our project. Frank Rewald, who is our construction management team, they put our construction package out to bid September 24th through October 8th. And post-bid interviews took place from the 11th through the 15th. The GMP was presented and approved by the Lyon Township Board of Trustees on October 29th, and we are within budget. That's for everything. That is for the bid alternates, our bid not buy options, which was a long list of things that we thought that we weren't going to be able to do on the site, in the building, and we got it all. So we are very, very excited. That includes, our money going in, it's $13 million for the bond, the $2.5 million from the township, and then we're taking money out of our fund balance to cover the technology. And it's close, like if you look at the budget, but that includes $1 million in contingencies from the construction management team as well as, from us. So we are very excited to get started. And when do we get started, you may ask, because that's the question we get asked about 30 times a day. So Rewell plans to have surveyors out there on the 14th and 15th with equipment moving on site November 18th. So you will see actual machinery on the property.
Nice.
Yes, so we are very excited. We're also having a new sign that's going to go out there with an image of, conceptual image of the building. So with everybody's logos on there, we can get rid of that flappy blue sign that I think is no longer standing. So we're very excited.
Great.
It's finally going to happen, guys.
Yes, that
Thank
is
you.
awesome. Thank
Thanks,
you
everybody.
so much. We're all very, very excited. Okay, I did have one more I wanted to say just before.
Okay.
I'd like to say how proud I am of the clerk of Lyon Township. No, I want to say that because look at how this election ran. I mean, this thing was, she ran for 9 straight days. She covered everybody. I can't say enough about Michelle as a clerk. She's wonderful, and she did such a great job.
Great job, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
It wasn't me, it's the team of everybody who worked, everybody at the township helped. Gonna make me cry, I'm not gonna cry. Okay, so we did early voting, 9 days, and we had 4,019 of our voters vote early, which was spectacular compared to the 159 in August. 208 of those voters walked in with their ballots and were able to put them in. So that came off of our percentages a little bit for our early voting. But in early voting with the absentees, which I have a few people who worked downstairs with us, and they did a spectacular job. We were able to process a little bit earlier, so same time as early voting. No results are released, but we're able to put them in the machine and then finish up on election day. So it worked out really good. It really helped us because we had a 96% turnout for our absentees, for 7,000 voters, absentees that went out. So that was spectacular. Our overall turnout, and this is just depending on when we're completely certified, but as of right now, it's about 81% for Lyon Township. Oakland County turnout was 72.92%, so we beat that. So a couple days, I think 15 to 20 days, everything will be certified and we'll be ready, and we'll know some hard numbers, but these are our numbers for right now. So thank you to everybody who worked. It was spectacular. It went pretty smoothly, and our public was amazing and came out and voted, so it was pretty great. So great to see, great to be involved. So that's it, but thank you all too.
Great job,
Appreciate
Michelle.
I still say we have the best clerk in
I just wanted to point out that
US.
Kelly noticed that when he went in that they were applauding for first-time voters.
Oh,
And we
yeah.
thought that was really, really
Always.
a
Yeah.
nice touch, and I hope that people
Yeah.
recognize that
Yeah. It's
not every
fun.
community does that,
Yeah.
and it was very nice to see.
And sometimes they're a little embarrassed, but it was cool. It's cool to welcome the new voters.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, seeing no one, we're gonna move to call of the public. This is when you can come on up to the microphone and talk about non-agenda related items. And I see we have one, come on up. Just
Hello.
name and address for the record, and thank you.
Hi, I'm Carissa Canfield. I live at 28533 Pontiac Trail. Sorry, I'm remembering business and home addresses gets hard.
that's tough.
I am coming here first of all to thank the township for allowing our group, the Kensington Valley Civitan organization, it's a charity group, local charity group, to use the township hall for the third year running for our project. Our project is, so my second reason I'm here is to invite you all to participate with us in one way or another. Our project is the Desert Angels Packing Party, and we've actually been doing this project for 7 years in different capacities. For 3 years, we've been inviting the whole community. In 2022, we packed 232 boxes to send overseas to our troops, and we had approximately 70 volunteers, range in age from, carrying to 97 years old. All ages, all abilities are all welcome, and we do provide free pizza and refreshments. In 2023, last year, we did have a budget for 200 boxes, so we did pack 200 boxes. This year, we are budgeting for at least 200 boxes, and we had a participation of over 90 people last year. This year, we are budgeting for at least 200. We already have 80 people registered, and I know there's a lot more interest out there. The event happens next Thursday here at the Township Hall, starting at 6 o'clock. We do ask people to get here at 5:30 so we can get everybody registered. And the care packs, we've heard from the soldiers time and time again, their favorite part, so if you can't come, maybe you can leave some, is the letters. The letters from home or the handmade cards from kids or from adults as well are the thing that they say is their favorite part of it, followed up by beef jerky and protein powder or protein packs. Other things that we can send are just personal touches, like crosswords. We do have adult coloring books that were requested, even socks, personal hygiene, other snacks, Halloween candy. And there is an Amazon wish list as well. So I do have invitations for you if I can leave them.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
I can put it up there if you want. No problem.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I do want to say, you've done this for, like you said, 3 years, and I actually seen this place when you're doing it, and it is like a disaster. No, I mean, there's stuff everywhere. And I come in the next day, I can't tell anybody was even in here.
Yeah.
I mean, you do a great job.
And
I
everybody
thank you for
really
that.
enjoys it. We always, I mean, they always come
you.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else like to come up and call? All right, seeing no one, we're gonna move on to reports, and the first one is the DDA. Amy?
Good evening, everyone.
I'm getting you on the run here.
Shuffling back to my seat.
We're all tired, so.
Some updates from what's been happening with the DDA within the past month. I had the opportunity to attend the Oakland County Main Street. They did an all-day managers training down at Eastern Market. I had the opportunity to attend some great sessions there. Also, we attended, myself and a few of the committee members had an opportunity to go to the Oakland County Community Showcase event. It's an event that they host where they invite different municipalities to come in and set up a booth, and they invite developers, business owners, an opportunity to come in, view the different communities, and see if they're interested in bringing them in, providing locations for future businesses or developments. We had a really good turnout. We actually had probably about 4 or 5 that followed up with me after the event about possible parcels in our community. So this is the second year we've attended the event. We had some great volunteers, local realtors that were able to attend with me to help market some of the properties here. So I think it was definitely worthwhile, and our Economic Vitality and Design and Appearance committees had some input to the information we were handing out there. I also had the opportunity to meet with the Southline Community Schools. We're working with them on a possible work-based learning program initiative. They'd like to see it start in 2026, but we're working with them to target some of the businesses and perhaps the industrial district or some smaller businesses that can develop intern programs for some of the high school students. They currently participate with Oakland County or Community College, and we'd really like to see them offer some local businesses that they can get involved with. So we're having some initial meetings that'll be taking place for the next year and hoping to have a program put together for next year's kickoff event. We also had some of our special events that wrapped up. We had our scarecrows on the Grand, so hopefully you got a chance to walk through that over at Inspiration Park. We had 28 participating businesses this year. That was run by Kim Yesbick with Yesbick Realty, who was the project coordinator for that. We also had Draft Horse Brewery, who donated some prize donations for our winners. They weren't able to participate in the contest, but wanted to provide something for the prizes, so that was very generous of them. We had our History on the Grand event. We had 16 attendees, which was our best attendance ever. That was headed by John Weaker with State Farm Insurance, located in our downtown area, so we want to thank him for stepping up. And Wholehearted Winery and New Hudson Inn contributed with some free appetizers for all those that registered for the event, so they had an opportunity to visit those businesses too. And we had our Goodies on the Grand event. We had 19 businesses participate, and as always, New Hudson United Methodist Church hosted their Holy Hallways with the event also. It was fantastic turnout. We had probably over 200 that attended again this year. It was great to see. We actually had a huge line at their front door when the event kicked off, so that was really great to see. We love having the relationship with the church over there. We want to again thank the New Hudson United Methodist Church and also Samantha Grouse, who owns the Hey Babe Beauty Bar located downtown. She actually chaired that event, so it was a fantastic event for her. We have coming up on November 30th our Giving on the Grand, which will start at 9:30. It's going to happen at Inspiration Park. The church will be hosting a pancake breakfast at 9 a.m. that day, but we're inviting community volunteers to come out at 9:30 and help us set up for our holiday pathway and inflatable walkway. So it's kind of a good time for people to come in and get some community service hours, help out, and start a tradition of volunteering in the area. I believe as of now we have over 20 volunteers registered online to help us out that day, so we're looking forward to it. We're usually wrapped up before noon that day, so it's just a couple of hours. If you do attend, dress for the weather. We're out there, rain or shine. So wear work clothes, some boots, and bring some gloves if you can. We do have Lighting Up the Grand, which will be taking place Saturday, December 14th. We are expanding the footprint this year. We're actually starting off with a holiday market from 2 to 5:45. I know that seems like a crazy time, but we have our tree lighting at 6, so we wanted to close down in time for people to make it over to the tree lighting. We were initially going to run it at one of the local churches, but the feedback and interest has been so good that we actually contacted the schools, and we're going to be hosting it at Dolson Elementary. We already have over 20 vendors signed up for the event, so we're very excited about it. That's going to happen, as I said, 2 to 5:45, and we're putting in a request tonight with the board for a street closure. We have contacted a business that offers a giant tubing apparatus that we're looking to place along Wells Street. It's about 100 by 20 feet, so the footprint is very large. But that's going to be set up between 2 and 7 o'clock. It'll be free for the community. That's sponsored in part by DTE Foundation and Reyes Coca-Cola Bottling. And then we also have our traditional activities with our Santa visit. He'll be brought in by the fire truck this year. We're going to have face painting. We're going to have a magician on site. Heinz Park Ford is doing hot cocoa and s'mores, so a lot of great activities. There are some flyers in the back if you want to grab one. Our website also has all the details. And then lastly, I just wanted to say we did get our new Christmas tree planted over at Inspiration Park, so please check that out. Thank you to Rick Elko for the donation on that. It's a 20-foot Norway spruce that's over there. It's a gorgeous tree. So we are having it decorated. It'll be up decorations before Thanksgiving, so hopefully we can turn those on right away. We've been working on our Economic Vitality Committee and Design and Appearance to do some holiday displays. Hopefully you saw the one for this fall that was down at 6 Points. We had a trailer with some pumpkins, corn stalks up there. We're looking to do some Christmas displays too. And we had a couple businesses that are stepping up to sponsor some light pole decorations at our parking lot. So we're gonna have some of those snowflakes put up with garland wrapped down on the 3 light poles there. So a special thank you to Big B New Hudson, Thomas Duke Realty, Mark Zerlag, and Toothtown Pediatric Dentistry, who are each sponsoring a light pole this year. And then last thing, I was able to attend the SEMCOG annual meeting. Both Robert and Chris were there too, so we had some good conversation. I actually got to meet with somebody with SEMCOG that is able to provide us with some Placer AI reports. They utilize tracking information on the phones that are made available to them, and they can help track visitors coming into your community, how long they're there, where they're coming from. They're going to be running some reports for me to track Kite Fest over the past couple of years to see how many visitors are brought in for that event. And then they're also going to track Inspiration Park participation. So we've been running programs there since about 2020, 2021, and we're going to be able to see that data since then of how traffic has increased into that area, how many people are coming in on those dates. So hopefully I'll have that information in the next couple of months to share with both the DDA committees, the board, and the full board here. So we're looking forward to see what kind of impact that's made on the community. Any questions?
I do have one. Krista ran away so fast. For socks, do they need like big packages? Would you prefer them small packages so you can get more to more people, or do you open them up and break them up?
We do open them up. And
Okay, perfect. Then bulk is good. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And I believe they can't be like short ones.
You gotta be the longer socks over the
Yeah,
boots.
they're
Okay.
ankles.
Ankles, yeah, because the boots. Okay, yep, thank you. Amy,
Well,
thank
thanks,
you.
Amy. The DDA is doing a lot of good things.
Thank you.
Amy
Lots of
mentioning the Placer thing reminded me, actually, I forgot to say earlier, Chris and I and Amy all got to attend the SEMCOG General Assembly, what was that, last week? It was in Novi, so Amy was able to come out and get a couple sessions in that hopefully will be relevant to some things the DDA is looking to do.
Very nice. Any other questions? Okay. Come on up, Chief. Chief, I got one question before you start.
Yes, sir.
Can Santa ride on the big ladder on top, coming in on the top?
We have to figure out how we're getting him down there. Is he meeting us at the station or where we're picking him up? I think we're meeting at the
Meet
station.
in that station, and Mrs. Claus is going to be riding with them today.
Perfect.
Or for them.
Sounds like a great idea.
There you
She
go.
can run the, she can run the
Tell them
ladder.
to take it easy on the shingles.
So for month of October, our fire prevention did 16 inspections, totaling just over 904,000 square feet, bringing our total, year-to-date total to 403 inspections and just over 7.6 million square feet for the year. So he's been a busy man. Average training for the month per team member is 10.5 hours. Our run numbers are actually down from last year. We're down 27. But that's just one bad storm away from increasing. So we're about on average. Our annual Halloween party was a huge success this year. We had probably just over 360 people in attendance. It went very well. A lot of people there. It was great to see all the kids in their costumes, and just wanted to thank all the volunteers that were there helping planning and assisting with the event. Without them, that definitely would not be possible. Assistant Chief Harbin, Firefighter Carnival, and myself, we made the trip down to Sutphin last week for the final inspection on Engine 2. The truck is looking great, and barring everything going well, we anticipate having it here before the end of the month, so we can start doing some training and getting the truck set up like that. So there was a picture put on our Facebook page yesterday. If you haven't had a chance to see it, there's pictures on there. It's a nice looking truck. We can't wait to get it in service. And then finally, new Chief 2, our vehicle was placed in service just this past week. So you'll see that out and about, new F-150 out there matching my truck. Any questions for it?
That sounds great.
For December meeting, can the new truck be out in front? We usually, like we usually do with.
Possibly. It won't have anything in it, but I can definitely, if it's here, I'll bring it over.
Unless it's not ready yet, I don't want to push.
No, you can see the truck. It just won't be in service, but we can bring it over for you guys to see it beforehand. Definitely.
Thanks.
If it's here, we'll plan on it.
Thanks for
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chief. Sergeant Sharma. How are you doing? Good.
Good.
Congratulations, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
No major incidents to report, which is a good thing. Lieutenant will be back next week, and upon his return, we will start the fundraising process for the Shop of the Hero. So,
Oh, yeah. Do you have a date for that yet?
no, so
No,
when,
okay,
when
just
he,
curious.
yeah, when he returns,
early.
we'll coordinate with the people that help us out, so.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant. Planning Commission.
Oh, yep. We only had one meeting in the month of October, and that was due to the election. So we couldn't use the meeting room, but our meeting was Tuesday, October 15th, and we had a public hearing scheduled for that design group, Building 3, Special Land Use and Site Plan, but they asked to be removed from the agenda, so we did not have that. So we did have, under new business, we had the preserve at Davis Creek, which happens to be on our agenda tonight, and that was approved and recommended to the board. And then we had Lot 35 Grand River Extension approval. That's the property on Grand River, west of Milford Road. And they just asked for an extension, but they're moving along well. And that was also approved. And that was actually it. We just had two things, and the meeting was pretty fast, and it was good. Is there any questions for me? Good. Okay, that's my report.
Okay, Lise, give it to us.
I will give my report in the way in which Mr. O'Neill would prefer. November 18th, meeting canceled.
Thank you.
Is that all right, Sean?
Yeah,
That
that's
sounded
good.
nice.
That's
Okay.
good.
And a nice ring
That
to
says
it,
it all.
yeah.
But the reason why you don't have any is for the next 6 items in unfinished business. They're doing such a good job keeping these contained. That is awesome.
Sean John said it, I did not.
All right, Jay had some other commitments tonight, so he couldn't come for the building department update. And the water is the same as it was last meeting. We haven't got the trees cleared yet, but they're talking about the end of this month having the footing started. So I'm just sitting back and, he gave me an update the same as he did last time and said probably by the end of this month, he'll have the construction started. And that's all I got for you. But the water system itself is running very well. And we have put everything into winter mode. So we have dropped the levels in the tanks and, Okay, anybody have anything they want to ask about that? All right, seeing none, we're going to move on to the public hearing. And the public hearing we're going to run tonight is for the Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG. And I always ask for, Alexis, if you could just kind of explain it, and so everyone understands it before we open the meeting a little bit.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, good evening. I will refer to our memo dated October 30th, 2024, included in your packets, which summarizes our recommendation for the 2025 CDBG funding allocations. As noted in the memo, we are estimating that Lyon Township will receive $21,609. The official amount will be finalized a few months after the application is received, and we will notify the board on that amount when it becomes official. The application is due to Oakland County on December 6th. So I wanted to note that if for any reason you wanted to table tonight, you will have to make that decision at the December board meeting to meet that application deadline. In our memo, we outline our recommended allocations, which include $3,500 to provide services for victims of domestic violence and their children through Haven. This is a historic allocation that has been the township's done for many years. And then the remaining estimated funds of $18,109 we recommend allocating to provide partial or entire access fee support for Lyon Township seniors to use at the Center for Active Adults. You may note that previously the township allocated some of these funds to youth services through SLARA, but as noted in our memo, they've had some difficulty with the restrictions on CDBG funds, and to sort of make up for that reduction in funding through this, it's been discussed that the same amount will be allocated to them from the general fund. We recommend that the Township Board approve this program year 2025 application subject to tonight's public hearing, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I think that really explains it very well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open the public meeting at 6:26 for the public comment. If anyone would like to come up and ask anything about CDBG funds, now's the time to come on up. Okay, seeing no one, we're going to close the public hearing at 6:26. Thank you, Alexis, for that. That was very good. All right, we're going to move on to the unfinished business, which is 6 amendments to ordinances that are all in second reading form. I talked to Alexis today before we started the meeting, and there's nothing has changed on any of them from our first readings.
Okay.
So if you have any questions on any of these as we go along, please, talk then. But I mean, everything is from what we passed the first meeting, on the first reading. So we'll go to the first one, and that's a consideration to adopt the sidewalks to provide standards for the sidewalks in the general provisions section.
I'll move the adoption of ordinance 05-24.
I'll support.
All right, we have motion support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our next one is the consideration of the adoption of the site plan approval, the permits and certificates of occupancy, offset parking, loading requirements, wellhead protection plan, conditional uses, incorrect topographical error to clarify the change in use includes change in user. Anyone have any questions on that one?
How does this, how does somebody get notified? Is it up to them as the...
You mean for change of user?
Right, like how would some...
That's
like
always a trick.
Okay.
Believe me, that's always a trick, and I think that's why we have this in there, right, Carol? Right. If we catch them that they've changed the use without telling us, and it gives us the option to go in and find out what it is. And we didn't have the teeth in it before, so.
Move the adoption of ordinance 06-24.
I'll support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're going to move on to the third one here, and this is for consideration of adoption of ordinance for landscape screening and walls, installation and maintenance to resolve inconsistency in landscape material standards.
Sean, I'd like to move the adoption of ordinance number 07-24.
I'll support.
Motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're going to move on to consideration and adoption of ordinance to amend the site plans, site development standards, specific uses, site development standards, non-residential uses to specify and format with landscape information.
I'll move the adoption of ordinance number 0824.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're going to move on to the consideration and adoption of the ordinance for subdivision regulations, land division, design standards and sidewalks and bicycle paths, streets, sidewalks, and other public places, construction of bicycle paths and sidewalks, Division 1 generally, required to provide standards for sidewalks and subdivisions. I said that like 4 times in there. Okay.
These are so long.
It's like you're reading us a bedtime story. This is nice. Could you read that again?
Seems like I went over about 4 times the same thing.
I'll move the adoption of ordinance number 09-24.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're gonna move on. Consideration and adoption of ordinance for land divisions and subdivisions and subdivision regulations, plat review procedures, tentative preliminary plat review, and specify the format in which landscaping information shall be provided.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 10-24.
I'll support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You guys took the easy way.
I know.
All right. We're gonna move on to new business. Our first item of new business is Resolution 2024-29, approving the program year 2024 Community Development Block Grant Application.
I'll move the approval of resolution number 2024-29 for the 2024 Community Development Block Grant Application.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're gonna move on. The preserves at Davis Creek, formerly known as Chickerell Lion PD, final review, AP 2230. Alexis, you wanna start us out, please?
Sure. Okay, I will refer to our memo dated October 30th, 2024, included in your packets. The applicant, Robertson Brother Homes, is proposing a 52-unit housing development on 68.56 acres of property located on the east side of Pontiac Trail, roughly halfway between 11 Mile and Silver Lake Road. The proposed site consists of 2 vacant parcels and 1 single-family home, all of which are zoned R10. The proposal includes 52 for-sale detached condominium ranch homes offered as either a 2,000 square foot single-story home or story-and-a-half Cape Cod home. This, we know, they're targeting the retired / empty nester population, but it's not age restricted. Additionally, approximately 54.7 acres, which is around 78% of the net site area, is to be preserved as open space. Since receiving feedback from the Planning Commission and Township Board on the preliminary plan, the applicant has reduced the total number of housing units from 54 to 52. The review history is noted in our memo, but I will just note that we are in the first reading of the final review stage, and currently the township is reviewing the PD agreement administratively, and these items in the agreement will be addressed and added based on the approval of the final plan documents tonight. Our review includes several findings of note. First, the landscape plans note that 6-foot-tall evergreens are proposed to be planted. The applicant has agreed to update these to the 8-foot minimum required plantings. And then additionally, the one item for discussion on this tonight are the tree replacement standards to be met. So there are 255 3-inch trees that are required to be replaced per the standards. The landscape plan proposes planting 92 of these trees, replacing them, and that leaves a 163 tree shortfall. To address this, the applicant proposes utilizing section 18-282-3C1 of the township ordinance to reduce the number of required replacement trees. That section, which is included in the memo tonight, essentially allows the township to consider permanent dedication of open spaces as a viable way to meet that tree replacement shortfall. So tonight we recommend that the township board in any motion of consideration clarify the expectation for the tree replacement compensation, either a contribution to the tree fund or utilizing this section of the ordinance. For the board's reference, we note that the landscape estimate budgetary figures for this would be between $500 to $600 per tree. So this would result in a contribution to the tree fund between $81,500, and $97,800. We also wanted to note that during the Planning Commission's review of this, there were mixed comments about the utilization of this open space dedication. In the vote to recommend this project to the board, there was a no vote who wanted to note that their stance is that the replacements should be compensated by contribution to the tree fund, as the township has done for all other projects. Again, this is up for discussion tonight, and in conclusion, the final site plan proposal is largely in keeping with the plans presented at the previous 2 stages, and it is in line with the density of 1.25 units per acre noted in the master plan. And again, the applicant has agreed to update the landscape plans to meet the 8-foot tall requirements. So therefore, the only item for discussion on this remains for the method to meet the tree replacement standards. And once that topic is resolved and subject to any other comments, we find it appropriate for the board to approve this.
Okay, thank you, Alexis. Leslie, do you have anything to add that you'd like to put in?
Only one item in our October 22nd letter in your packet. Regarding the internal sidewalk, there's a proposed small boardwalk near Unit 21 that will allow the internal pathway to cross a wetland. And I would recommend that the pathway actually be relocated closer to the unit to avoid that for future maintenance for the HOA, possibly even in the wetland buffer. That would be my suggestion for your discussion tonight.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Leslie or Alexis before the applicant comes up? Okay, I think the applicant's here. Come on up. Yep.
Sorry, your timing ran out on the computer there, so if you need some help.
I do.
I think you just have to click the button. Reggie, help me. Reggie's coming. We ran out of time with our,
Failed to connect.
it just fell asleep. I think it needs the new meeting ID number.
Congratulations to the board. Jim Clark, Robertson Brothers Homes, 6905 Telegraph Road, Suite 200, Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. I'm not sure I'm going to use the presentation. We started this process in 2022. Alexis, thank you. So I think you're all aware of what we're looking at. Without being flippant, I'd love if you would accept the recommendation of planning, and that would be my recommendation. And I have a couple of things I just want to amplify in terms of why we think it's appropriate. And I do note on your agenda that item C is to eliminate this possibility. So I thank you for putting us before that, at least for consideration. So when we set up to do this development, we noted that the area we were developing or preserving, the 78% of the site, is a priority 2 preservation area called Davis Creek. It's in your master plan, and it is designated, as I say, as a high priority for preservation. We are planning on putting this in a conservation easement, so it will not be used. So that is something that was envisioned in your master plan and has been accomplished in the process that we've gone through. The ordinance, as it's currently configured, calls for a minimum of 40 acres to be preserved, and we're at 78.75 acres, so almost double the amount of preservation to qualify for this consideration of some help on the tree replacement. It does, in your in your criteria for a PUD, it does talk about providing trails, and we are providing trails within this conservation area, so we're meeting that. We did talk about the conservation easement. It is an excellent, it talks about the wildlife habitat. If you look at that Davis Creek watershed, we are preserving a significant piece of that, and it connects to the majority of the other wetlands, which all your neighbors have come up and said is a very wet area. So I think it provides an excellent wildlife corridor by putting that 54 acres in perpetuity in a conservation easement. We're asking for a consideration that's provided for. It doesn't mean it's granted, it's just a possibility. My pitch, which sounds like a really terrible thing to say, but my request is, we've had a lot of interaction with the neighbors as it comes to trees, and we've committed to plant the trees that are necessary so that our neighbors do not see or feel the new development, because it is clustered up by the street, and it is clustered near neighbors, and in some cases it's quite far away from the neighbors, but we are committed to screening those neighbors with any new trees that are necessary so that we're not impacting. We've also committed to make sure we don't build 1.5 stories, which are 2 feet taller than our ranches, so they don't have a larger structure next to them. So there will just be ranches next to 2-story homes, which is, I don't think it's a big consideration, but it's something they asked for, and we did do. We feel, worked with the township on density. We're at 0.7 units per acre versus the 1.2, and I know I trudged on and on and on at a number of meetings trying to get to a higher number, but we've agreed at 52, and we're happy with that. There was discussion about the bridge and whether we do the bridge before the eventual widening on Pontiac Trail. We've committed to do the bridge. We'll put it right where the engineers want, and not an inexpensive item. We're doing a very elaborate front entry on Pontiac Trail, which will be over $500,000, $10,000 a unit, resulting in $20,000 more for a customer, because construction's half of sales price. So if you have $10,000 actual cost, you have to raise the price 20. So it's a significant presence in the township. If we just pay into the fund, it's just, again, a raise in price for the homeowners. So it'd be $1,567 per homeowner for those tree replacements, which means we'd have to charge additional $3,100. Now, this is just, if construction cost is 50% of sales price, you raise the construction cost, which is $1,500 for each resident for these additional trees if we're not successful in getting a variance for this. And I guess the statistic it's just a raise in the sales price, which we're trying to address a price point always. I'd rather have lower prices than higher prices. It means more people can move in to these homes. They won't be cheap houses. They'll be very well done. But I just did a calculation. So the total site is 70 acres. We're building on 15.74 of those acres. If I take the total amount of trees that we're removing, not what your ordinance says I have to count, the total amount of tree removals, it equals 46.5 trees per acre. If I take 46.5 trees per acre times the acres that we're not touching, so if the density is the same in the front as it is in the back, and I don't know that because I don't have them, that means we're saving 2,540 trees. That's a lot of trees to save. The parallel plan, we would have demolished, would have removed a lot more. We didn't want to do that, and thankfully we came to this accommodation. So that's hat in hand. It's in your ordinance. I know it won't be in your ordinance after tonight's meeting, so it's not a precedent. I think it's unfortunate as a practitioner that if somebody's doing that type of preservation that there isn't some allowance. So I like that it was in the ordinance, but I'm not the township. And I'd like to be the one and only guy who got it. So that's my presentation. Thank you.
Do you have a final look at what it looks like? I went back into the planning commission packet, but I'm not seeing what it's supposed to look like, so I don't know. Is it at the end?
Which thing are you looking
Well, I was just trying to see what the preserve is gonna look like. Is this it, right here? Oh, he's got it up there. Okay, good. I would just like to see it.
So what is the price point you thinking on these houses? I mean, what do you think it's gonna start at? Like, you're talking all ranches, right?
$500,000 to $700,000. I mean,
$500,000 to $700,000.
Yeah, the land development alone will be $5.5 to $6 million. We don't have to do a LOMAR and a CLOMAR, but we are doing remapping the floodplain. So the land development will not be cheap. It will be in the range of $100,000 a unit for just road, water, and sewer, front entry amenities, paths, bridges, everything else. That's not a complaint. That's just what it'll be, and that's based on our last 10 years of history of doing land development. So it'll be in that. I can't guarantee, we haven't bid it out, but it will be somewhere between 90 and 105,000. So with that, plus the cost of construction, we're going to have to be at $500,000 or more. And I don't think we'll get to.
We talking 1,800 square foot? Is that what you're talking?
2,000.
2,000.
Yes.
1,800 to 2,000. Wow, that's expensive.
Yes. Now we're doing all the lawns. We're doing all the sprinklers. We're doing all the exterior maintenance. We're doing all the roads ourselves, and they'll be maintained. And all that. The good news is when we do them, they stay like this forever because it's set up in the condominium document. So you can go to a old condo project if the docks were set up right, and Carol will make sure they are. The preservation will be, the project will not look 10 years old when it's 10 years old.
One other question I have is that bridge that you're putting across the front there, how much you said that's expensive. How much are you talking about?
250,000, something
Just
like
got
that.
It got 2 feet narrower since you were here
Yes,
last time,
yes,
so
thank
you're
you.
welcome.
It's still that.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. You know, I don't have a final bid, but it's in that range.
How, is that a long span across there?
Leslie, do you
are you
know?
talking about?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I'm looking in the plans, I can give you an answer in a second, and if not, I can unroll these suckers.
That's the part of me that retired.
While she's looking, can I ask
Yeah,
a
you're
quick question?
retired, I see it. You see it retired.
Jim, you made a comment near the end about how you're saying with the new ordinance amendment, how would that affect your tree planting requirements? Like how?
Well, item C on your agenda is to eliminate the ability to ask for a variance if you're preserving a significant amount of open space. So the next item after me is the elimination of the ordinance provision that I'm asking you to consider, which the Planning Commission said 6-1. They recommended you consider. So.
Okay. So you're saying you're the last guy who would have a chance to even ask for this?
Well, I don't know how you'll vote after this, but if you do decide to eliminate that from your ordinance, you're not setting a precedent tonight with Robertson Brothers, because you can extinguish that precedent tonight.
So if there was money, I guess one of the questions I had, maybe it's for the board, but like, so if there was a donation of these trees, and I really don't know how I feel about it, and it goes into our tree fund, do we have any plans or use? Because it's a lot of money that would get put in there, and I was just thinking of what we have in terms of township property and where we would even put that number of trees, I guess.
We have property.
I mean, we'd like to put them on our
Park
property, but
hopefully we're getting the part for the coyote, or not coyote,
Sorry, what are you talking about?
Yeah, coyote.
coyote, yeah.
You're right.
So, I don't know. It's up to you guys.
I have a couple questions. So I understand that this is a tree fund, so when I ask what can the tree fund be used for, I understand that that is trees. But is it only trees? Is it shrubs? Is it only on township property? Like, what are the parameters of that fund? Anyone?
I don't know how your fund was set up, but, you know, I think you're talking about landscaping. Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a tree, it could be a shrub, and the concept is to plant green. Right.
Okay, and then, does anybody know how much money we currently have in that fund?
Once we get the road in, do you know which one is it?
Patty?
I didn't look in the budget.
And then the last question.
We have money in it.
Okay, and then my last question is, who decides on where those trees go? If let's say we wanna utilize that amount of, X amount of dollars from that fund, is that something that goes to the executive board, or does that come to the full board?
We'll probably bring it to the board here.
Yeah,
I mean, if it was,
I
it depends on the
how much
size of the,
money it
depends
is.
on the
Like
size of the
one
project.
tree, can we bring it to the board? I'm joking.
No,
One-
I don't think we would bring that to the
One
board.
singular tree.
We were gonna buy a tree for the Inspiration Park, but I weaseled it out of,
I remembered you got them.
yes, I did.
Very good.
Sorry, got it out.
So those were my only questions regarding the trees, and then my other question is, with the boardwalk, is that just the traditional materials that you're, gonna be using on that, or,
I'm sorry.
like, for the boardwalk?
The bridge?
Yes, well, it was
Crossing of the Davis Creek, or the
Yes.
wetland
Yeah.
crossing near Unit 21.
Davis Creek.
Well, it's a prefabricated steel bridge with a concrete deck, so it's better than timber. The one,
Yeah.
but and it's 60 feet long is what the proposal is.
You're talking about the front one?
Yeah, the one crossing the Davis
Mhm.
Creek. And then the one that I mentioned in my report about Unit 21, it's actually in that area yellow right here. If the board would prefer it there, then I would recommend it's a composite material, because the plans show timber, and that's the reason that it's in my letter tonight.
That would be an association-maintained item, but yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay,
Both of them would be an association
So-
maintained.
so the crossing of the creek is
Mhm.
prefab.
Yes.
The boardwalk possibility would be, your recommendation would be,
Composite or
Composite.
relocate it, so
Okay,
it's just asphalt.
okay.
And we prefer to relocate if it isn't too close to the unit. I don't want to impinge upon somebody else's,
It
some
does
new
get kinda
new
close.
owners.
It would be way up, it would be pretty close to their deck if we were gonna avoid the wetland.
So does it run basically under that yellow line?
It's almost where the yellow
Or-
line is. It's just you can't see the
Yeah, I'm
unit.
having a hard time.
I know, and let me see, there's a.
Then I think our preference would be to
I don't,
do
yeah, I guess I
like
can
composite,
find,
just
if you know which plan sheet it is, I can look at it that way too. but-
Okay, let me find it.
Oh, I think I found it actually. Looks like, sheet C03.2.
I was looking at 4.1, but
Oh, okay,
See
it might be on
4.1.
multiple.
it's on a couple, but I think
Yeah.
that one's kind of gives you a good idea where the wetlands are too. But if you move it, if you're trying to move it to avoid the wetland, you're gonna be pretty close to unit 21,
And
Yeah.
like by the storm sewer.
if they listen to my recommendation would be not to do that. It just makes for bad neighbors.
Then
If
just-
somebody's walking too close to the deck, it can become a problem, which I'd rather not have.
Then just change it to composite, and I think
Yes.
that's fine.
Yeah.
So really, the thing that we have to decide is whether the tree situation bothers anyone here, and
So,
So I'm curious to hear from Patty on it, because I read the minutes and I think you were the dissenting vote on it, so I just want to know your thoughts, because I honestly don't know.
Oh, sorry, Jim, but I gotta say what I feel. We've never done it before, not saying that Jim doesn't deserve it, I just think that we're gonna be building a downtown eventually. We have some new property I think we will be getting. We have a ring road that needs to be landscaped. We have multiple things that I think we could be using that money for. And that's why I couldn't vote for it, because I just can't give away money. In myself, I'm not saying right, wrong, that's just how I feel.
But in a way, I think the rest of the planning commissioners felt that, and I'm not arguing with you, Patty, I'm just
No,
saying that
no,
there's
they-
enough open space and
they
enough
did.
wooded area to say
They
there's really an
abso-
offset, so.
They absolutely did, and
We put a lot of money on the frontage where we thought this commission and the planning commission wanted it, so this is a last hurrah. We feel we've earned it, and that doesn't make any difference. You'll tell me whether we've earned it. We've worked hard.
Jim, I assume that the open space dedication will happen regardless of this.
Yes, Carol will
Right,
make sure
it's-
that's in the
yeah.
PUD
Right,
documents.
so it's not as though if we don't give you the out on this,
No.
something is changing.
No,
about
that's
the-
not. No, we would not, that's not the way we roll.
Alright, so I guess, yeah, hearing you talk about what you estimate the cost impact per unit would be in your pricing. If you're talking on the low end of your price range, taking a $500,000 unit, $3,000 added onto that is 0.6% of the selling price, which to me, I mean, yes, if you keep using the same logic, things balloon quickly, but
For trees
I
that
don't
won't
see
be on our
somebody
site.
right, but
These are trees that we don't get.
True. I don't know that impact, if as somebody who's looking at a $500,000 to $700,000 house, I don't think $3,000 is gonna be a deterrent to whether they make that deal or not.
No, you're absolutely right, and as you also pointed out, it's every line item, and you never save enough to make a
Right.
difference
Yes.
anywhere but when you add them all up. Because we build them one piece at a time, and if you don't watch every piece,
Yeah.
Anyway.
So that's, I mean, I guess where I'm at right now on it is that while yes, of any development in recent history, I think you have done a really good job with preservation, that you would be one of the best candidates to justify using this.
We can stop there.
I look at it as I hate turning down contributions to funds that we might get, and future street trees, things like that will indirectly benefit these residents if they are placed throughout the surrounding community. So I don't know that it's something they don't benefit from at all just because it's not on your site. That said, also though, I mean, have you exhausted placement on your site?
Yeah, I mean, we have 2,000 trees.
I'm not saying you need more. I'm just
No,
saying,
and if you-
instead of, if we were to tell you, no, we're not letting you off the hook,
We will look
would
to
you
plant more.
place
Yes,
more of
we
them
will.
so you're paying us less?
Yes, we will pack them in as much as possible. And,
I-
well, it
Yeah.
just,
I don't fault you for that. I'm just trying to see, how this likely plays out one way or the other.
this is appropriately landscaped based
Mm-hmm.
upon 30 years of history. We will put a bunch more trees in. It's been my observation as a 35-year employee of Robertson Brothers and owner. If you go back to the projects that people require packed-in trees on, they start cutting out trees because they become overgrown and it's not attractive.
Yeah.
You plant trees closer than 10 feet and they all look great the first 2 years and then they die in the center. So, yes, that is
Obviously,
exactly what
I
we'll
don't
do.
want them to be too dense that they're going to fail.
We'll make 166 go away as far as possible by planting them on the site.
Now,
And
do
that's not
we-
malicious, it just,
Yeah,
I think it makes smart sense. Look, I don't want to argue anymore. We think we deserve a break on this one after everything we've done. So I will answer any other questions, but thank you.
All right, anybody else got anything they want to talk about? Now it's time. Any questions? Lisa?
I do not have any more.
Nothing?
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so I guess this is up to you guys.
Well, let's try it. We'll make a motion to approve AP 22-30, subject to the review comments in both the McKenna and the CES letter, specifically changing the pathway behind 21 to be composite material, and accepting the recommendation of the Planning Commission for waiver of, where are we at here? Waiver of the tree replacement compensation.
Okay.
So to clarify, your motion says that they would not have to contribute.
Right, I'm just taking the planning commission's motion, planning commission's recommendation and incorporating in my motion just to get us started.
What does anybody think about kind of splitting the difference?
I thought about
Letting
it,
them
but Jim
waive
seemed
half.
exhausted, so I figured I'd just start here first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look how tired he looks.
You need a,
But yeah, we have a motion on the table, we have to get a support before we can talk about it
Fair.
anymore. Does anybody want to support that, or is it gonna die where it's at? You guys gotta, anybody want to support Sean's motion?
I will support it so that we can have discussion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a support, let's go ahead and talk about it a little more. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, I want to recognize the benefits that we do see here, but I also don't necessarily want to let them just waive it all and get some contribution without also trying to pack it in too tight that it doesn't look good or trees don't survive or things like that.
Give me a number, Rob, I'll consider a friendly amendment.
Just call him Rob.
Yeah,
have
he
a
and I are cool
question.
like that.
Did you say me and him?
No, he and I.
Oh, God, all right. I do have a question.
The grammar.
If, let's say they pack them in and then they start to die, don't you have to replace them anyway? Because your landscape plan says that they're there, so it would not be in your best
Landscape
interest.
bond.
We're long gone, which sounds awful, but
It's
So-
totally
but it's true.
Right,
I
so,
mean, they won't die in the first 4 or 5 years. They will.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's only for the first couple of years. So
Okay.
if
So
to
then-
his point, if it's many years down the line,
so then the residents and their HOA would have to pay to replace so once they're cut out, it's not like, oh, well, they're gone now they have to put them back in, right? Or not?
Technically, but who's policing that?
I don't know, I'm just asking.
You know, I mean, we're not looking around for stuff like this.
I am. I know every dead tree along Green River.
You're busy then.
What's that?
It's just a burden on the residents.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
At the plan stage, do we review like the likelihood?
but that's not the primary focus,
Right.
you know.
Trustee Robert Swain,
Yes.
you got a number? I'm gonna be more formal because
Let
these
me,
are gonna upset.
sorry, I gotta find the numbers that would be required as is. Sorry.
163 is the shortfall.
Okay. I mean, I guess I would waive somewhere between 80 and 100 of them, maybe, or something like that. I don't know how.
So, so what's the dollar amount? They're using 81 as the low end.
Yeah, if we're
So you're gonna-
using 81, I don't know, waive 40 of it or something like that, or. I'm spitballing here to.
Okay. Are you using a number of 40,000 for a nice round number?
Sure, although I don't know if it's better to use it as the dollar number or the number of trees.
the
'cause
Well, the species vary based on Alexis's
All right.
review letter. So I'll
So
amend my motion
how about
to.
accepting the current landscaping plan with a $40,000 contribution to the tree fund. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Does
I'll
that
accept.
sound
I'll accept that amendment.
Workable from your perspective.
It is much appreciated, thank you.
I'll accept the amendment if Trustee Blades still would continue to second that amendment. Or that
Yes.
motion with the amendment.
Okay.
Yes, sir,
You
I
still good
shall.
on the second? All right, we're gonna go
This
ahead
is-
and vote on this
This is
one.
moving it to second reading with these conditions, right?
Oh,
Patty?
right,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Before we vote on that, Patty, do you have a comment regarding this discussion?
I'm good with 40.
She likes it.
I like it.
Okay.
Very well.
All right, so we have a motion to move this to second reading.
With those conditions?
With those conditions.
Perfect.
Okay, so we have a motion and a support, and we're gonna say, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
all right, moving on. We're gonna move on to the the introduction of the ordinance to get rid of this, so. Article 5, Tree Protection Division, Enforcement, Replacement, Relocation Requirements, delete section, permanent dedication of open space in its entirety.
Just to get rid of the section that he just used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Okay.
we know, just to
Any questions?
clarify, it was never used previously?
No, he was the first one that ever caught it.
Okay. All right.
So now we won't use it anymore, so,
I'd
Yeah.
like,
do we have a second?
Who made the motion?
Oh, did,
I didn't, yeah.
Oh, did nobody make?
no, I was just asking a question initially.
I will.
On a hot date or something?
I think I'm tired, okay.
Then, John, I would like to make a motion to move ordinance number 11-24 to second reading.
I'll support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're gonna move on to the introduction of ordinance to amend Charter Township Code of Ordinances, Buildings and Building Regulations
And this was
in
requested by the.
general and add new adoption of code to sections, reference codes, and adopt the state code.
It sounds excellent. I'll make a motion that we move ordinance 12-24 to second reading.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Resolution regarding option to reduction of pathway width, approved developments. And this is where we talked about bringing it down from 10 to 8.
One brief hypothetical for you. If something has already been constructed and some sort of maintenance is needed in the future, would they have the option to reduce instead of rebuilding a 10-foot footprint, the way this is worded?
I'm sure they would with
Why
an
not?
amendment, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
or I think the new ordinance requirement would be 8 feet.
Right.
Okay.
This is more about the projects that have been approved, but haven't been constructed yet. It gives the developer an option. They may choose to just do the 10-foot.
Right.
We just don't know yet.
Okay.
I think
And
it's
so for Davis Creek, they showed 8 feet on
They
the
already
plan,
did, yeah.
so,
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's
and we're getting the money
Yeah.
for it.
adjust it.
I think it's equitable to do this. This is the right
Yeah,
thing.
it is the
Yeah.
right thing.
I do too.
So do we have a second?
Nobody made a motion yet.
I'm joking,
I
I'm joking, I'm
will-
joking.
I will move the adoption of resolution 2024-30.
I'll support.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, now we're gonna go do the resolution for regarding political material on township property and providing penalties and violations. This is all about all the stuff that was thrown on the township property for many months.
And this is the one where apparently everybody has a different idea.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
The good news is we don't have an election for like 2 years, so we have plenty of time to figure it out.
Fingers crossed.
Should I make a motion to table this or what?
Well, why don't you have a little bit of
For like a year and a half.
discussion?
A year and a half,
I mean,
yeah,
the
go
thought
ahead.
was
Sure.
to just eliminate these from any any township-owned property. It's just a matter of aesthetics, a matter of, you don't wanna be looking like you're,
So-
recommending any candidate. And it's very, very common in a lot of communities, and as I said, a lot of the city charters have that in the charter that that's
This
prohibited.
is lawn
So,
mowing, it's so hard for our guys.
Even,
it's
does that
horrible.
even include on election day?
No, I think election day would be hard. Is it even election?
That's
The
not
way
in
it's
here.
written, it's blanket, no, and
Yeah.
that's what's stopping. I would be
Yeah.
open to considering some sort of time limitations,
Like
but
nine-
as written, I don't.
Like starting when there's the voting starts, like the 9 days or
Yeah.
whatever, something like that.
I think that if
But
it
you still
starts
gonna
at,
end up with the same thing, so you guys have to.
Well,
decide.
with the signs having to be removed within 24 hours of the close of polls or something
Right.
like that.
I
That
think-
way, it can get cleaned up and out.
I think cleaned up within 24 hours is good. I think saying that with early voting, but only at the early voting location, because then otherwise you're gonna have it at every other location. And then the other item is that it would include, a window of 12 to maybe 18 hours prior to the opening of the polls, because that way the signs can be placed the night before instead of showing up 6 AM.
If you're saying 24 hours for removal, why not 24 hours before opening and by 24 hours after closing?
That's fine with me. I was trying to make
Yeah.
Carol happy. but-
How do we deal? How do we
She
deal
doesn't want them
with
at all, so.
Well, this,
Carol?
I didn't just make this up, okay?
Carol, I kind of feel like you
There were
did.
a
No, I'm
lot of
just kidding.
complaints about the signs sitting
Yeah,
on
there really
in the
was.
township property.
It was just
So-
extensive. It was a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I-
it was ridiculous.
Actually, I have.
Started in August.
I have-
I would
August
agree.
primary.
Yeah, I have less
also
of.
think
Oh, go ahead.
that, I called John about this because I think if we can have something in here, even if it is on township property and it's within this time frame, the signs that were along the bike path,
I was gonna
those
bring that
were
up.
incredibly dangerous, and we
Yes.
had
Yeah.
no way in which to, they never should have been there, it was a safety hazard.
And they were in the right of way, they could have easily been removed, but we were trying to be kind.
Right.
So
Oh.
once this is why we opted for this resolution.
Right.
Because of that.
Because I think that adding the items that Sean and Chris and Robert and I have added onto it, I think that's fair. Like, nobody wants to be inundated
Right.
with that, but I don't really find it bothersome 24 hours before the election and then removed within 24 hours.
I don't think that's a problem. You just,
But this is
three
only on,
votes.
are we gonna
Township.
limit this to election, to polling places too?
Well, that's the question. If you do
Because
the
it's not
trail,
township
then
property.
Yeah,
and you say polling places and the trail's fair game for
No.
signs, right?
Well, polling places would mostly
No,
include
that's where
property
we'll
that's
allow it.
not
We'll
ours.
allow it in polling.
We'll allow it at polling places so that
Yeah,
well,
the
yeah,
trail
okay.
would be
Well, some of it
completely
will be
off,
off.
and the
It'll
water
be
tower and
township-
all that stuff.
Township-owned polling places.
yes.
Okay.
And otherwise, it wouldn't be allowed.
Because this just deals with township property.
Right.
This doesn't deal
Right.
with the schools where half of our
But the trail
precincts
is
are.
our
I
property.
think
But the
Yeah.
trail
Yeah.
is.
A lot
Trail
of
is
schools
our-
are also, I don't know what this school district does, but a lot of schools
And
are
our
prohibiting.
roundabouts and.
They're letting it
We
go.
don't even put ours up until after school's out.
The other slight, I guess, yeah, it's striking this balance between allowing the discourse and expression, but also not having it become a nuisance. And reading it, I don't know if I'm reading it too strictly here, but by prohibiting literature, like, would that stop someone from, like,
That's under
standing
state-
outside
That's
here
under
and
state's law, that's correct.
and within the 100 feet, yes, but like during say there's some controversial issue on one of our agendas and somebody stands outside and wants to hand out a flyer to somebody about that issue.
That's an entirely different situation.
I just want to make sure like something like this isn't restricting that type of activity.
That's a different situation,
Not a political sign.
Right, but it says
Yeah.
no sign, literature, or other political material. So it's the way it's written seems maybe a little too broad to me, but. Okay.
So I think if this is written how we kind of treat the school polling locations where the night before the election,
Yeah.
Right.
signs pop up and then they're gone that same night or should be gone that same
Well,
night. Cause
Right.
so the issue you guys ran into is people put their signs up in August and just never took them down.
Oh, yeah.
There's
Yeah,
still
even
a-
here.
there's still a-
Terrible.
Yeah.
Well, certain people are going to have their
Once you put
signs
them
up for
early,
2
they're
more
still out
weeks.
there.
Remember
Right.
too, this is just
Probably
for the
doesn't know
few
where they're all at.
township properties,
Mhm.
okay? It's not, you
Yeah.
can still put your signs
It's
up
the
everywhere
2
else.
fire stations,
Right.
it's
So,
here, the
you know,
library,
which
the
is not like you're
trail.
prohibiting people from
Right.
being
Center.
out there saying, I'm
Or
running
private
for office.
property, you know.
I would like to move forward with this now, and then have, at another date, have additional discussion, because the amount of signs that are in the road right of way, if you do that in South Lyon, they're gone. And everybody knows it's pretty much fair game, because we've been trying to be very courteous and allowing people to put their signs up, and then it gets to be really a nuisance, and it looks.
And that has never been permitted. You've
Right.
never been permitted to do it, but
We just
people
need
do.
someone to get it
Right,
down.
and so I thought that if we have a discussion about that, like overall that concept, can we bring back the sign, application? Because that way we actually know that there's a person attached to that, so if their signs are in violation, we can
Just
actually
come by and
contact
put
them.
'em up. They don't.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, they've never
We
really,
see
the
Fill 'em out.
political signs, you guys used to.
Yeah, I mean,
we had to do that in the
Mhm.
beginning,
Right.
like in, the early 2000s, but, I mean, since then, no one's really pulled them.
I
And
do.
then Carol told us you can't really ask them to do that either for political signs, so.
No, I mean,
Yeah, I know, we're,
kind of mixing apples and oranges here. So we're talking about, the community, public property, what are we gonna allow on public property versus political signs in general, which then become, now you're focusing again on a form of speech
Right.
under the sign ordinance, so.
It would be a different discussion. And I think
different-
that's
Right,
what you're
that's,
saying,
that's what I'm
right?
asking,
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
and at some point, not a month before the next election, but at some point, can we address that topic
I
and
think,
address this
and
now?
one of the things that we had talked about in admin was the concept of, once we figure out what we're doing here, to have it on the website, but also prior to elections, when we know elections are coming up, to again put on the website, hey folks, these are the rules on signs. If you put them in the right of way, we're gonna remove them. This, just a constant reminder until people start getting, otherwise we're just gonna start picking them up. We
Right.
didn't touch anything this election, but going forward, we want people to start following the rules
Yeah.
of the placement of signs.
And what was interesting is that last year there were several city council candidates who put their signs in our rights of way, even though in their own town, they would have been picked up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I, that would be the first thing that comes to mind with signs that I would not want in a non-election year for anyone that lives in this township, having their rights of way littered with City of South Lyon candidate, signs. They can put them in their own city if they want to look at them.
Right, so I think that if we have a further conversation a little bit later about the non-township property, concept, I would be interested to have some more discussion about that, but I would agree that this tonight would be a good thing to move forward.
But this tonight would not allow on, for the, signs out here.
With the comments about the 24 hours and.
Well, I would
Between
have to
first-
revise.
That's what I said.
Between
Yeah,
first and second reading.
I would really
Yeah.
have to revise this, so I would probably
There's-
table it at this point.
That's what I said. Given the 14-day window here, I don't think we
What's
really
resolutions?
get any benefit immediately by doing this and then coming back and fixing it versus
Well, you
waiting.
hope everybody
right?
gets their signs out, but,
Cause-
that was part of the concept of doing this tonight, was to make sure everybody cleared their signs out.
Because that's where it's like, I guess if we were to, I
But
would
if
be
they're in the right of
okay.
way, just go and take
Yeah.
them at this point.
But for right here, I guess what I'm saying is, if you guys want, I would be willing to say, do this tonight with the understanding that next month we have a resolution that modifies what we passed tonight. That way it would let you, if people still haven't pulled them from here in 14 days, it would let you clear them out while we work through setting the rules going forward. That's just throwing it out there.
Well, I think
I like that idea.
I would be willing to do that instead of just tabling
you know?
it. And we could,
Yeah.
is there a reason we
Yeah.
said 14? Because
We
Well,
could
just
amend this
because
resolution
we
to be
kind of
7
geared it
and
around
amend it.
people removing the signs for this election.
right, do we really want to give them 14 days to do that, though? I guess is what
If
I'm
you're gonna
asking.
approve this and come
24
back,
hours.
yeah, if you're gonna approve this and come back, change it now, the time period now, and then that's easy, and then add
Right.
the new language to a revised resolution, but that being adopted tonight would allow for them to
Right,
take, yeah.
that's what I'm going
Okay.
for here. Right
So let's just
So
go
you
ahead
wanna
and
say
move this
24
one,
hours?
and then we'll.
So, yeah, how many hours is, is there
24.
a certain amount of time we have to give people to have been able to
Well,
read it,
I
or?
mean, 24 hours is,
24 seems aggressive to me.
that's aggressive.
Um,
That's aggressive.
I
I
just-
think everybody here removed their signs within 24 hours.
We did,
I think we
but,
removed it within 24
Within-
minutes.
Within
but I don't.
2 hours of the polls closing.
Yes. I mean, what is a reasonable?
48.
48?
Yeah, why not go 48? That gives them 2
All right,
days.
perfect.
That's
All
And
right.
then, oh, wait, are you?
So, I was gonna make a motion
No,
unless
no.
you.
I have a comment then for item number 4, the township shall have the right to remove any sign within 14 days or placed in the future on any township property. So number 4 is not dealing with this. So can we change it?
It moves on, yes. You can change the time periods of both.
In 3 and 4 would be the
Yes.
same.
Yeah, that's what you're saying you
Yes.
want to do.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
48
Yes.
hours.
So-
You're doing
yes.
48 hours for both?
So I will, make a motion to approve resolution 24-31 with the changes of both 14-day references to 48 hours.
Should we just say 2 days?
I have
Sure,
a question.
Yeah,
whichever
where's-
way you
when's
want to
the
write
time
it.
run?
I'm sorry.
Follow the
Right,
polls
if
close
we
8
move to
PM
a
on
Friday,
election day.
if we move to no work on Friday,
That's the next agenda.
then that means that those signs are up through the weekend until the following Monday, unless you have,
There'll be glitches, I mean.
that's what I wanted
but
to know.
We can still
like-
get them on Monday, I mean, it's.
Right, I
totally
just wanted to know if
different.
that's
Yeah, I
fine with
appreciate
you.
that, yeah,
Okay.
you're right.
So 2 days?
Sure.
Okay, did you make that motion?
I
You want a
will
second?
make that motion,
I'll support that motion.
and then outside of the motion, I'm just asking that, we come back with a resolution to work out the time period to allow it.
So that would be next month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're gonna move on to the discussion for a 4-day work week. I don't know, Patty, you wanna take that on?
Yeah, it's actually, I wrote you 2 memos. I did gather some additional information that I thought would be interesting, and that, actually, this was brought to us by our employees. So, and Amy's one of our employees, is that not true? It is.
Yeah.
Amy asked for a 6-day work week. She's an overachiever.
Anyways,
Throw me under the
we
bus.
just think that, I mean, you can see, these are just the communities I had listed. There's 17 of them. It kind of is the wave that's happening out there. I think it's good for the quality of our employees' life, and people that can come before work and after work. We've been asking people what they thought. They really liked it. I really, I want to put this on my tax bills, so I talked to, we got a new printer from Oakland County that is going to be printing our tax bills, so I have a little stress about that, but we'll figure that out. And, I mean, I would like to, I'm gonna put the flyer in, if it's approved, in the tax bills, because we wanna be very transparent when the offices are open. But most of the surrounding communities are going to a 4-day work week, and I think our employees would be very grateful, and they're looking forward to this decision, so,
You really
Okay.
added the city of Wyoming to your list in Grand Rapids?
well, that was my
Well, that
list.
changed from.
Well, I mean, it's
Last time.
surrounding-ish. I mean, it's
Well,
closer than like
surrounding,
the state of
it is,
Wyoming.
but it was the list I had. And plus, I just want you to know, I looked all these websites up to make sure that I didn't put something there that wasn't really true, but there are. And I know there's probably even more, but those are the ones that I was given. And
Patty?
plus it'll save us a little bit of energy. There's nobody here really on Fridays. We thought that would be a good idea, to have those days, but seriously, I think this would benefit our residents even more, and I know it would benefit our employees, so.
Okay, anybody like to
That's our
comment on
request.
that?
One comment that I had is, could we start this in January instead of December?
Well, that's because it's gonna be on my tax bills.
Well, but I mean, you could say starting January 1st.
Yeah,
On my tax bills?
Yeah, you could,
No,
probably.
I gotta list the hours. You don't,
Oh.
there's not enough time.
Oh, you gotta list hours, I get it.
You gotta, people have to be able to come pay their taxes. and
well, that's why I'm,
So
That's-
you're saying not that you couldn't write it as starting January 1st, just that you think it's
It's-
helpful to have it
it's
during
printed
December
right on
when.
your
Printed on the tax bill, right?
Yeah, that's.
But you were saying you were gonna add a flyer too,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
could the flyer just say starting January? And I'm just thinking like gives people fair notice. I mean, I would agree with you, Lisa.
well, I'm just looking at the schedule for December. So we've got Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off. That gives a resident the 26th to come in and pay their taxes if they don't use escrow, and then the 30th to pay their taxes. So I'm looking at the opportunity
Oh, are you talking about?
If we do not have, if we have a 4-day work week in the month of December, people who do not have their or who want to pay their taxes at the last minute, that gives them only the 26th, which is Thursday,
Well, you
and
know
the
there's no
30th.
penalty for that, though. I'm just,
I don't know that. I
yeah,
did not-
well, penalty doesn't start till February, February 15th. So really, this is if you want your taxes paid. And it's mostly, it's mostly mortgage companies that pay, because in your escrow, by law, they must empty out your escrow by December 31st. So most people pay in February that are individual, like you pay your own taxes, right? A lot of people wait till February 14th. So by December 31st, it depends on it's really with your income tax. If you want that, and now that isn't even as it used to be, because you can actually claim in the year before if you pay 1 year. You can't pay more, like you can't claim 3 different seasons of income tax on your.
It's just the last 2, basically.
It is.
Yeah.
So and this is weird too, but always starting in January, we have 2 stamps, and we ask the resident when they come in, because again, to us, there's no penalty, there's no interest, there's no anything. We ask them, do you want it stamped in January, or do you want it stamped in December? Just for them, it's for them, not so much,
How busy are we that week before?
It's mostly mortgage companies.
So do we
is
have
what
a
it
lot
is.
of?
And we have the Dropbox, like for Michelle. You can pay online. A lot of people, we've made actually a lot of money because we partner with the county. Remember, because we can't use credit cards.
Right.
So we can't, because we can't absorb the fees. So, they have a lot of ways to pay. A lot of the snowbirds will come and pay their taxes early, It goes out December 1st, so they have time.
Question, Patty, and the way I don't want to misinterpret this, you're telling us in this memo that currently the employees work a 37.5-hour work week. So with this new, and they're all salaried, so with this new proposal, they would actually work 30 minutes more every week,
Yes.
but the salary would stay the same.
Yes.
And so you're saying so there would actually be 2 more working hours at the same cost every month for people to come in and still have access to the office, to the people here in the office.
That's exactly right, yep.
Okay.
And they're
I
well
mean, I think
aware of
that should be
because-
mentioned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, it's a lot of the quality of life.
It's a
just
very,
is.
So-
it's a very, very nice perk. I mean, and we really love that you guys gave us the half day also.
Well,
'cause
and
that's
so the half,
spectacular.
and the half day's tough though, right? Because,
It is.
and sure, you could take a half day off and just not come in or
Sure.
whatever, but, you add a little bit of time to a 4-day work week and you're still only here for a half day. It's sort of it affects different people differently. People who want to come in may not even show up because we're just limited that day. And so I guess it's sort of a mixed bag.
It's just, if you were here, and again, like Michelle said, they were so appreciative, we all are appreciative of that. But once you get here, it's almost like you start your project, and then you look at the clock, and it's time to go home, and it just doesn't seem as productive. And plus Fridays are so quiet here. Remember, that's why we asked for a half day. We thought, oh, that'd be good. But we thought, people can come in now at 7:30. They can come in and pull their building. The builders are, they're so excited about this.
Well,
So anyway, that's what we're asking. I would like to start it December 1st. So we're on one even keel. Taxes are funny. People, this is about their property. This is about money. I don't like to change on them, and that's why, I'm sure they wanted me to ask for probably November 1st, but I said no, because first of all, we're not messing with the election. That's not happening, because we wouldn't want to change our hours then. And
Right.
December 1st is when the tax bills go out, and I would like it on my tax bills. It's there in printing. They can see that, and then plus a flyer.
And Michelle, next election, you'll have to be open on Fridays anyway because it'll be early voting.
We're here
And,
because early voting starts,
right.
so
And
it
the people
doesn't
who are
really
here
matter.
get
Yeah.
compensated and they
Yeah.
should, because they're working tons and tons of hours.
Yeah,
So,
you know.
so when you brought this up, Patty, I initially didn't love the idea because I feel like our job is to be accessible to the public and to the business community. And then as I understood more about what you were proposing, I really softened to the idea, because not only are we not reducing our hours or spreading them out, we're adding a half hour a week. And say what you want, but it's a half hour a week that we were not open for the public. And so for 2 hours every month, there'll be more availability, I guess, to be here. I guess I would like to approach it this is just my opinion, as let's try it for a year and see how it works, and then put this on an agenda for next November to see how it works. Do we like it? Do the employees like it? Does the public like it? Do we need to make any changes? So deal with it on a trial basis, but you have to do it for a long period of time. Go through all the seasons, because we had summer hours before, and I think people love summer hours. I think that's great. A lot of communities do summer hours too. But that's even goofy, because when are you open those days? When are you open? Like, this allows us to be on a schedule and just have it set and not change for summer. So, I mean, that's just my feeling.
I like the 7:30 to 5:30, because if you're extending it, if somebody works at 9 o'clock, they can stop by, ask a quick question, and then make their way to work. And it really creates, or it has less stress trying to get from here to their, work. And I also look at it for, I appreciate what Sean said about us being open for the public, but if we want to retain our employees, I think that there should be some additional perks that will keep them wanting to stay loyal to being, we don't want to have employees just rolling out and going to another community because their family situation is such that they need Friday off, or if you have doctor's appointments or dentist appointments and you have kids to deal with, that Friday off for them is a lot more productive so that they don't have to take time off.
Carroll's community they work just 4 days a week too.
I've been like that for years.
So I'm fine with it. I appreciate the additional half an hour. My only issue or worry was the that month of December. But if that is the
I would appreciate it. That's because it coincides with the tax bill. So if you get a tax bill, you look at it, when can I go pay my tax bill?
Right.
So you're talking about the difference between the bottom of the bill says hours, and then your flyer would say hours, and if they don't match, people being confused.
Right. I don't want to confuse them, because I always regard as taxes, you never want somebody, because I'm the one that has to tell them when they have to pay a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
That's difficult when you've been here a long time and you have relationships with a lot of your residents. And then if we are very transparent with, okay, we're starting December 1st with the tax bill, and that flyer goes in with the tax bill.
That'll call their attention to it, you're
That's
saying.
exactly right. And I've already talked to the printers. We've got it made up, which is in here, so you can see it. It'll just be on a colored piece of paper. Does not cost us extra postage, by the way, because we're allowed to have three inserts. So the return envelope, which I still like, and I like to send that out. People do like that, and it's either green or blue. I couldn't get blue or green one year, so I had to get blue. But I think they like that. It's easy for us to pick it out. We know it's people's money, and they are, people are funny about their money and their kids, and so we thought this would be a very good time to start it, and it would be very well advertised. And
I'm going to say something really quick, and then I'm going to stop talking. Lisa, you mentioned something I think is important. You talk about retention. You talk about kind of quality things, perks for the employees, and I think that that's important. And we've got great employees. Not only is this one that doesn't cost us money, this is one that actually provides more open hours of operation at the same cost is what they're offering. And so it's going the other way. So I think that's, again, you can't say that enough. So I'll stop.
Yeah,
Could you say it one more time, Sean?
No, I said I would stop.
Okay.
I guess I had a couple questions. One, like I noticed the varying, and I know you added more communities, but there's a lot of varying hours. Like a lot of them are 7:30 or 7 to 5:30. There's even one that's till 6 o'clock at night, 8:30 to 6. So I guess the 7:30 to 5:30, is that enough, or do we need to do like a 7 to 5 or a 8 to 6? I don't know if the builders.
That's so we work, because we were 37 and a half, And so we'll work 9-hour days.
Some of them are 40-hour-week
Right.
communities, so
That's right.
you've got,
It
that's,
depends
yeah.
on what your hours are, but we have always been 37 and a half, and Sean's 37 and a half. So that's what it kind of worked out to be. You're gonna be here early, but you're gonna stay late. And I think
So
they're
you
good
guys,
hours.
the preference is to do the 7:30 to 5:30, not like a
Yes.
7 to 5
Yes. Yep.
or anything like that.
But
And I guess the other, you
I was
said
supposed
you
to
were
not
gonna,
to-
you were
I'm
not supposed to
sorry,
talk anymore.
sorry.
No, the other question is what happens on a Friday? So I'm bringing this up because this has happened 3 times. As a Friday afternoon, I'll get a call or something, a text or a message that says, "Hey, my grinder pump alarm's going off. What do I do? Township hall's closed."
Call
I'm
me.
not closed.
Right. I end up sending them Anthony's number or whatever.
Yeah, it's
and
right on our
whatnot, but
website.
That's what they're
is
supposed
there?
to call.
It's right
Yeah,
on our website. Even if
it
you're
is, and they
here, it's
just,
on our website.
you know, maybe they didn't.
You guys
Fine.
can always call me,
And
and
that's
I'll jump
okay.
on it.
Okay.
That's what you
But
want.
is there
That's-
like, if they call on a Friday, is there, can we do the recording that says, "Hey,
Yeah.
if this is a water sewer emergency, call this number" or
We
something?
can do that.
Oh, sure.
Just,
Yeah,
that'd be my only.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we
worry
could do
about
that.
that's good.
Yeah.
I said that was already on there. On your
I think it is too,
It's
but.
definitely on the website. I
It's
don't
on
know
the
about our
website.
It's on the
It's not on the
website,
phone.
Yeah,
Oh,
but we can put it as
We
a
can
phone
put it on
message.
there.
It's a good call.
I think this is a good situation where we tried the half-day Friday thing, we evaluated it, we figured out a thing that we think is gonna be better. It's better for the employees, it's more accessibility for the public on their way to or back from work. I don't have really a strong feeling between December 1st or January 1st. My only comment, I guess, suggestion to you would be if, for the flyer, to maybe just highlight in the narrative there that this is expanding the hours of accessibility. Because like there's not, like, somebody might not know that we were only open from 8 to 5 and they're just saying, oh, now you're just closed on Fridays. Just something so that you stem that initial reaction that people might have that could be viewing this as a negative thing and spin it to, this is how this benefits you.
Yeah, like extended hours, but just for
yeah.
short.
Now featuring extended hours, or however you want to,
Okay.
however you want to write it. Just a suggestion.
Do you want to, or is it a possibility then to add something at the bottom of this as well that says for water or sewer emergencies, contact, and have that on the flyer as well? I mean, if it's on the website, the flyer, and the phone.
Why not?
I mean,
I think it's even
you've
on
got
the
a full
bill.
sheet to work
I think
with.
it's on the bill.
Is it on the
for
bill?
Water and sewer.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
It's on the water
if
and
you
sewer
are,
bill, I think.
I
this is
don't
another
think
thing.
so.
And the problem with that is that goes to everybody.
Yeah, kind
They'd be calling us for their
I think
wellness.
it's a great idea, but not everybody is on water or sewer. And I don't wanna give them the idea that they think they are
Oh,
on water or
okay.
sewer.
Because they do.
Because they
It's
do.
on,
Oh, yeah.
it's on that bill.
I just, I would prefer, I think.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Do you know what I'm saying? I don't wanna.
I can't call you to fix my.
No.
Then I completely agree with you that we should not have it on that.
Yeah, 'cause I think it's on the water
I
and sewer.
would like.
Okay.
to leave
Yeah,
it
it is
simple.
on that, I know. it
Check.
is.
I'd be okay with it.
I've seen it on.
Open longer.
Yeah, lucky you.
You could say that, but leave off the water sewer stuff.
Yeah,
All right,
it's
so
just-
my
It would be
suggestion is retracted.
It was a good one, though.
Was that a motion?
No.
Oh, I didn't know.
All right, somebody
I
want to
didn't
make a
take it
motion?
Do you want a
Motion.
motion here?
Yeah, let's make a
Okay,
motion.
do we, are you good with
I'm
December
done.
1st, or?
If that's the rationale, and if I'm the only person, I don't wanna hold
Okay.
anything up because I'm the
Don't be
only person.
messing my tax bill.
All right, I'll make a motion to adopt a 4-hour work week with.
4 days.
Sorry, 4
Come on, not gonna extend hours of operation.
Never mind. A 4-10
Somebody take a
schedule
drink.
with 7:30 to 5:30 beginning December 1st.
I'll support.
To be reevaluated
A year from
a
now,
year from, yeah,
December 1st.
yes. Reevaluated next November.
At the November meeting.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Support.
All right, we have a motion and support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect.
Thank you, they'll be happy.
Okay, lighting up the grand, this is an easy one, Amy. I don't know of anybody here that's gonna say we can't close that road down, but I'm not gonna speak for anyone, but.
I provided the memo for you just to let you know that I also attached some pictures of what the apparatus looks like, so you can kind of see for reference. It's 100 by 20 feet footprint, which we wouldn't be able to have over, or to host at Inspiration Park because we're limited by the location. We think this will help kind of bridge the gap between us and the holiday market that we're offering this year too, so it'll help bring people all the way over towards there. They do require approximately 2 to 3 hours of setup and tear down for that entire apparatus. So we're looking to close the street at approximately 11 a.m. and through 9:30. We did discuss this at our administrative meeting, so they were all made aware of it to go over any issues or concerns. And I've consulted directly with the fire department and the sheriff's department, and they all recommended that we move forward with approval for it. We're really looking forward. I think it's a unique thing for our area to have. We're really hoping to promote it so we can get people involved in it. We also discussed with Mission Church, which is located on Wells and Grand River, that corner. They're very supportive. They're going to be lending us some additional barricades so that we can make sure those entrances are closed off well. And they're going to open up their building and location and do some outdoor music and refreshments there too to help partner with us. So we're hoping that the board will support the motion to move forward.
So Chris wanted me to ask if there was an age limit on the tubing hill?
There is not.
And how
all
tall?
ages.
How tall is it?
All ages.
All ages.
As long as you
All
can get
ages.
back up
Yeah,
after you
there you
get
go.
down the hill. You're good.
You are back.
Can we close Grand River instead of Wells?
We're hoping
You know,
to in
like
the
right in front of the new Hudson.
future.
Now
I'd
we can-
love to
Once we get
eventually.
that
Tubing on the
railroad
Grand.
So we'd have,
There we go.
the sheriff's office would be doing a crossing probably roughly at Wells then.
They normally help with crossing during the actual event for lighting up the Grand historically. They would be starting early to help manage this crossing. Yes.
Okay.
You know, kind of the cool thing is if we could get that ranger for them, they could have the pick up and lay down there.
And we will
Okay.
have some
Well, this is good
additional portable lighting brought in too to help light that area because it is a little dark
This is
the
good
farther
stuff.
back between Rice and Grand River. Yeah.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the street closure of Wells Street.
Support.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we're good. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
I'll make a
Okay.
motion that we enter into a closed session under MCL 15.268(1)(e) to consult with the township's attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with litigation of GSL Holdings LLC versus the Charter Township of Lyon, as an open meeting would have a detrimental financial effect on the litigation or settlement position of the township.
I'll support.
Okay, April, could you please call this by roll?
Yes, I can. Robert Swain,
Yes.
Michelle Cash,
Yes.
Patricia Carconi,
Yes.
John Dolan,
Yes.
Sean O'Neill,
Yes.
Lisa Blades,
Yes.
Christopher Enlow.
Yes.
Okay.
And I guess I would add for the record that it's likely the township board will reconvene following closed session for a decision.
Okay.
We'll be back.
Back in 10.
I have not had dinner yet, but I had a late position. But now I'm like,
So you have to make a motion to go back in open session, Michelle? Oh, we are on.
Okay, we're ready.
I'll make a motion that we enter back into open session at 7:59 PM.
Do we have
I'll
support?
support.
Okay, April, could you please call us by roll?
Yes, I can. Lisa Blades.
Yes.
Christopher Enlow.
Yes.
Robert Swain.
Yes.
Michelle Cash.
Yes.
Sean O'Neill.
Yes.
Patricia Carconi.
Yes.
John Dolan.
Yes.
Okay, I'll move to approve settlement in the matter of GSL Holdings LLC versus the Charter Township of Lyon for payment to the plaintiffs in the amount recommended by legal counsel to be paid by the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority to resolve claims that were set for trial on November 6th, 2024.
I'll support.
All right, we have a motion and support. April, would you please call it again one time, please?
Okay. Okay. Michelle Cash.
Yes.
Sean O'Neill.
Yes.
Patricia Carconi.
Yes.
John Dolan.
Yes.
Lisa Blades.
Yes.
Christopher Enlow.
Yes.
Robert Swain.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I think that ends our normal business. Anyone have anything else they'd like to add before we adjourn? No? Good meeting. Let's adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. 8 p.m. adjourned.
That's-
Sounds good.